option 1 at this point, and tonight we will take a look at option 2 again. Option 2 is a recommendation to close an elementary school and to, in theory, and I can't say all staff in that school would be eliminated, all positions from that school would be eliminated. To go to half-time kindergarten in all schools, which would be about a reduction of approximately 50 staff members. Then each of the following sites would have to take some between an 8, 10, and 12% reduction. 12% from the Barnstable Horace Mann, 8% from Barnstable Middle School and High School, 8% from Marston Mills East Horace Mann Charter Public School, 10% from Technology, Maintenance, Athletics, and Gateway. And the preschool would need to move again to Barnstable High School. I tried to do, and this is not an exhaustive list, this is sort of my next step in the process. I believe that the advantages of option 2 are it is certainly less disruption for people. People don't like change, and so it would be hard. It does, in fact, close fewer schools, however, and there would be less staff reduction. The disadvantages is, in fact, that it does not ensure a 2-year solution. I believe that with option 2, I would be back here again next year saying we need to close another school. We need to redistrict more kids. We need to unsettle the district again. It's larger class sizes across the district, and it's a greater loss of programs and services. Option 3, which accomplishes the $5 million reduction, which gets us much closer to living within our means and less dependency on the savings account, moves the 8th grade to the high school, and the move would be to create an 8th, 9th grade academy. Those of you that may be familiar with the high school structure, if you walk in the front door, there's a staircase right on the right-hand side, which would bring you up to 2100, House D. And what we would do is hopefully create a 8th, 9th grade academy with its own, not its own principal by any means. Mrs. Graves, oh, thank you, Ralph. Mrs. Graves would still be the principal of the high school, but we would have a designated administrator for 8th and 9th grade. Barnstable Middle School would in fact be a 6-7. Barnstable Horace Mann Charter School would be a 4-5. By the movement of those grades, it allows us to close 2 elementary schools, and the remaining elementary schools would be K3 buildings with a class size of approximately 22 in K3, the class size in 4 to 7 approximately 24. Once you get into the high school, it's really difficult to nail down a class size. I would say it would range somewhere between 15 and 25, and there will be outliers on either side. But I do know that this reduction in programs will require larger AP classes, and that's where you get people saying, we have an AP class of 7 or an AP class of 8, and we know that we'll have to make much larger AP classes. It does allow the preschool to remain at Centerville. It is half-time kindergarten in all schools, and it's a reduction of 35 to 40 professional staff. The reason that I cannot give you absolute specifics about staff is because if, in fact, I support and respect the site-based management and I say to the principal of the middle school or the principal of the Horace Mann, you have to cut 10% or 8%, it is then their decision of what they would cut. It's not mine to mandate to them. So they might cut services or they might cut staff. And so that number will be a variable that's hard to pin down. It will, option 3 does in fact require additional cuts at sites. However, the cuts are lower than you saw in option 2. Somewhere around 10% at Barnstable Horace Mann, 5 to 7% at the middle school and high school, 5 to 7% technology, maintenance, athletics, and gateway. Again, the reason for the variability is because We had estimated a 4.9. We said $5 million deficit. I have in front of me the Cape Cod Times headline of this morning where it says, as Ralph said, DeMasi predicts cuts in local aid. If in fact our local aid and Chapter 70 were cut next year, that would be somewhere in the neighborhood of another $700,000 to $1 million. So it is hard to nail down the exact numbers right now when we don't have exact figures from the state. As we look at advantages, disadvantages, option 3 does in fact maintain more of a lower class size option. The reason being that because we are condensing more elementary students in one location, you can more evenly distribute the students by classes. And so hopefully we would be able to have class sizes consistently around 22. We do recognize, though, that kids don't come in neat little packages by geographic area, so that we have nice, neat 22 in second grade, 22 in third grade, 22 in fourth grade, all living in the same neighborhood. It is more of a multi-year solution. And I hesitate to say that because I sat here last year and said I had a multi-year solution. When we had projected the cut of the Housemaster program at the high school, when we had reserved $2 million in free cash, we said we had a multi-year solution. So as things look at this moment in time, it feels more like a multi-year solution than option 2. It capitalizes on declining enrollment. As enrollment declines at the high school, people will remember back and say, I remember when there were 2,100 students in the high school. By moving the 8th grade there and the projection for ongoing decline in student enrollment, then the 8th grade fits nicely. And so it does capitalize on accommodating the system for declining enrollment. It maintains the preschool location, which is something that I have tried to commit to since coming here, because the preschool has moved almost a dozen times in 14 years, and we're trying to give it a stable home. It does create academic opportunities. There are people who are excited about change, who are excited about taking a deeper look at the school system and saying, should we change this? Are we doing the right thing? Can we be more efficient? Can we be more effective? And so this would, in fact, really ask us to look at many programs and services across the district. The reverse of capitalizes on declining enrollment, it really does allow for growth in space, because by taking the 4th grade out of the elementary schools, even with closing, we have 21 4th grade classrooms across the district. The assistant superintendent and I project that we will need somewhere between 8 and 10 additional classrooms to accommodate the school closings. And so there will be space. So maybe, as one parent asked me last week, will the library come off the stage in her school and be in a real room? There might be that possibility, but more than that, there might be the possibility of getting students and staff out of more portable classrooms. And so also to allow for more respectful locations for art, music, and some of the other classes that are on carts. The disadvantage, the most major disadvantage is that there's probably not a person within the school system that won't be affected in some manner, shape, or form.